Thank y'all for coming out today in the snow. We're here because we've been protesting the conditions at the ACI now since the beginning of the COVID, pandemic, and nothing has really changed. People are again in 23-hour lockdown. The buildings are still in a state of neglect and, toxic to the people inside. There have been hundreds of people getting sick with COVID in the last few months. There have been deaths at the ACI that have not been publicly announced or talked about. So we're here to make some demands and to share some information about what's happening inside. So I'm going to hand it over to one of our Behind the Walls members who's going to present our demands.
We have Behind the Walls. We just have a few demands, as you can see on our signs there. Things that we should already have in place, but due to the treatment by the correctional officers and whoever else is in authority at the Rhode Island DOC, we have to demand for equal rights in just every facet of life, whether it be education, increased time out of our cell, PPE equipment during COVID. We're just looking for equal treatment from everyone that's involved with the well-being of the inmates that unfortunately made a mistake, but don't look to live by that mistake. That's pretty much what it is. We have our signs here if you want to take a look at them, and you can contact us. We're located in Providence. It's there, Behind the Walls. We're just looking to make some type of change within our community.
Do you want to read the demands out? The 8 demands?
All right, we have a few demands that I'd like to read out loud. We're asking for an increased time outside cells by rearranging their recreation schedule. Right now, every inmate within the ACI is going through pretty much what you would go through for misbehaving and being placed in segregation. They're a 23-hour lockdown, which is inhumane in the first place for anyone that's disobeyed, but is now universal for all inmates because of COVID. Something needs to be done. There's a vaccine in place, which most of the inmates have agreed to take or have already taken. There's the booster shot. So if science agrees that you don't need to be quarantined for months on end, then I think the Rhode Island DOC and the health department should also agree and have a change made so that the inmates and our family members, they're not just inmates or convicts, they're also our family members, are able to have recreation, whether it be coming out to use the phone, going to their educational services, going to their religious services, being able to have access to healthcare, the dentist, the mental health that's so important that might have gotten them incarcerated in the first place, and etc. Another demand we have here is that they actually install more phones, because during this period, they only have 15 minutes of recreational time. So they have 15 minutes to take a shower and also use the phone and whatever else they might have to do, which is order food through the weekly commissary or exchange anything with someone in order to be able to write a letter or continue what they need to do while they're inside the cell. So within that 15 minutes, they're expected to take a shower and use the phone, and that's almost physically impossible. If they try to ask for any additional time, they may be thrown in seg. Or if they ask for a grievance, which is another one of our demands, they're not able to speak with the proper authority, because the authority now has an additional excuse that there's a COVID situation. I'm not going to come into the block as a captain or a lieutenant and speak with you, something that I might have done in the past freely. So there's a lot of practices that were in place that we were against that have been doubled down or gotten worse with this COVID situation. We're hoping that by behind the walls making you aware of this, you can speak up on your family's behalf, your community's behalf, so that an inmate doesn't lean toward recidivism once they're released, because they believe that those that are in the community don't care about them or are unaware about their plight or situation. We just hope that PPEs provided to staff and inmates. I'm a former convict myself. I was released recently, and there is PPE in place, so we're not going to lie about that or put down the Rhode Island DOC, because they are making an effort. The MedTech team does come in and conduct tests weekly or bi-monthly. And in addition to that, they do provide masks, but we're looking for masks to be provided on a more frequent level, because they will give you an N95 mask, but expect you to use it for 2 weeks or more. And if you don't use that same dirty mask, which is you're unable to wash, it's not a cloth mask, it's a N95, as everybody by now should be aware, you'll be thrown in segregation, or any of these limited privileges that you have, like using the cell phone or coming out for recreation to take a shower, will be taken away from you. So we're just hoping that, again, making the public aware of what's going on, and then giving you a choice as to whether or not you want to assist in equality for everyone, or turn a blind eye, which I know most people will not do. We also want to demand that you renovate and detoxify the facilities. There's mold and maximum security that's been in there for years. The solution, due to resources, is to paint over these disease-causing molds, but they need to be actually removed. So we're hoping that we're bringing that to everyone's attention. We can get that changed. Well, mental health care is provided, but because of the restrictions, the mental health care workers, most likely, if you ask them, would like to come into the mods themselves and walk around and speak with everyone to make sure they're okay. That's not being done right now. You're still expected to put in a request slip, which can take weeks to get responded to or to receive a response to. And your request might not be granted, but if a mental health care worker is able to walk around similar to segregation and speak to each person at their cell through the wall, wearing PPE, protective equipment, then we believe that those that need mental health care services will be more likely to request them and actually get them. Another demand we have is to restore access to educational programming and opportunities to earn good time. Right now, GED, CCRI, and other educational programs are not really allowed to go into the ACI due to these restrictions that have been placed on us due to COVID-19. We're asking that be lifted, that correctional officers and other staff, medical staff that are able to go in there and wear, whether it be their mask, their shield, gloves, to protect themselves, the same opportunity should be given to those that care about our education, that they be able to walk in there and provide the services that they were providing before this pandemic took place about 2 years ago. These services not only help us leave early by the accumulation of good time, but also help us to better ourselves and be forthcoming and courageous when we step out into the community, because we know that we've earned some type of credit or diploma that would help us and assist us to reintegrate ourselves into society. Another demand we have is to provide accessible and safe means for incarcerated people to report grievances. I might have touched on this before, but just to reiterate, when someone is feeling they're being cheated or being neglected within the correctional institute, they have the opportunity to speak to a lieutenant or a captain. We normally bump into them as we walk through the halls to going to eat, but right now the food is being brought to the inmate, so we don't have that luxury of seeing the lieutenant or captain in passing. The next step would be to file a grievance, and these grievances are not reaching those in authority for them to even make a decision, talk less of to make a favorable decision. So we're hoping that these grievances be taken into account, that the system be streamlined so that anyone that is looking to file a grievance or file a complaint can do so and not have to resort to the same type of behavior that got them into this situation in the first place, just to be heard that their laundry is not being done, they don't have a mask, they are not able to get a shower because they've been cheated out of recreation. These are grievances that a captain or lieutenant will look at and have fixed if they're made aware of it. But if they're not made aware of this type of situation, then there's nothing that can be done. So we're hoping that you guys can help us make everyone aware of this so that something can actually change within the system and within the Correctional Institute. I think our last demand is that you reduce prison. We're looking for expediting parole hearings and utilizing medical parole, as well as just pretty much trying to get people that no longer need to be incarcerated back into the community. We have parole, we have medical parole. There's people on cancer, on debilitating terminal diseases that sometimes are passed by the parole board or delayed. We would like to expedite this and have these people return to the community because they're no longer a threat to anyone. They just need to be with their families and make peace the best way they can. Also, we have those that have been out of trouble or are looking to better themselves, and we're just looking to see if there's any other way they can account for their charges and other their charges and mistakes that they've made in the past besides just rotting in a prison cell. We're looking for them to be heard by the parole board, have a plan in place, and come to the community and actually stick to that plan with the assistance of people in the community that care about them. Speaking from personal experience, once you know someone does care and there's an avenue for you to make yourself better in the community, you're more willing to step into that avenue and start being productive member of society and actually give back, which was most likely their first intention, but they ran into some type of hiccup or bump along the way that made them veer to the left or do the wrong thing. So we're not asking for anything too outlandish. We're just hoping that we have fair treatment, able to report anything that's being done wrong, able to actually contact our families, our friends, those in the community, our pastors, have our religious services met, our hygiene met, and our mental health care needs met. So we just we thank you for coming out, and we appreciate everybody's support here.
Thank you. No, we're not taking any questions today. Sorry. Okay, and we have another Behind the Walls member who was recently released and can speak on the conditions inside.
Hi, my name is Juan. Thank you everybody for coming in. I just got released 3 weeks ago, and living conditions inside the ACI is not actually well whatsoever. Me personally, know several inmates where their bodies are stained completely. One is bed bugs. The water's infected. It's a shame that we have to go down to the cafeteria and have sewage water fall all over us because it's been like that for years. We tried getting in contact with the NAACP and what's the other program? ACLU, and they're not allowed to go in. Me personally, I got my body completely stained out. There's guards in there that they wanted me to sleep inside of mold mattresses. The medical attention is horrible. There's sometimes you apply and it takes weeks before you get any type of medication. There's a lot of people in there innocently because the state doesn't care about the prisoners. Not too long ago, we had a blackout in there. I don't know if they had fixed the problem. We were in there for more than 3 weeks with no power in our cells. The ventilation system just went completely down. There was no ventilations coming in and out. The guards were running around all the intake with no mask whatsoever, but they would force us to have a mask on at all times. I actually caught COVID a week before I got released, and I got really bad. I was getting no attention whatsoever. So we asking the community out there, whoever sees this, to please come up forward to us and join the program. It would be nice if more people get united to see what goes on in here and to see if we could get the state to go in, because the guards and the warden in here does not allow anybody to come in. So if, in that said, I would love to see more people come up and join our crew. We're gonna try to do everything possible, try to help everybody in there, because it's just not a living condition in there. Thank you very much.